Welcome to the first episode of the All Righteous Satirical Nimrods podcast, or Arsene for short. And for this episode, we'll be tackling the 9th episode of HBO Max's, or just Max now, original series, Station 11.
Alright, so my name is Angel.
I'm Sal.
I'm Anthony.
Okay, so I think that we should start by talking about the development of Kirsten.
And Jeevan.
Yeah. And Jeevan.
Throughout the course in general of episode 9, I feel like.
So, as we can see, they had a very bumpy road in the beginning, especially when Kirsten was a little child.
Yeah.
And I feel like she was attached to Frank in a way.
Yeah. Because, I feel like she connected with Frank too much, and, that kind of, and that, worked against, their survival later on, Jeevan and Kirsten's later on, because she wasn't, too distraught over Frank's death as, Jeevan was, but she, connected more to Frank, so that now that Frank's gone, she, doesn't, want to, connect more to Jeevan. And I feel like Jeevan recognizes that even because he's even shown well, he's not shown, but he's reacted to some changes in Kirsten's character, when she was throwing the knife repeatedly, throwing a dart at a target board, he was in shock, but she just was so laid back on it. She's changed, obviously,
And it affected Kirsten too, because she's kind of nonchalant in a way, and very stoic and emotionless.
Yeah.
She didn't really react too much when Jeevan was screaming at her because he didn't shoot the woman, and I think that you can tell right there that had an impact in the relationship.
Yeah. Oh, it's not even worse because it's not like she didn't even she didn't react to it. She was just not even paying attention. She didn't even know that Jeevan was she was just busy reading Station 11.
Yeah, and I feel out of frustration, Jeevan just got rid of the Station 11, which then they all led up to Jeevan going to the hospital.
Yeah, obviously I was gonna say that I feel like Jeevan is still he still hasn't changed. I feel like he's still similar in the first half of the episode, before he gets attacked by the wolves, because that's the reason he got attacked by the wolves in the first place. It's because he still has that humility that he still carried on from the first time we saw him, because he went to go grab the book, because I feel like he felt bad, and he did that in the moment just because of how frustrated he was at the moment. But then later on, as the day and as night came, he just regretted it when Kirsten told him that she was questioning if he was the one who threw the book away.
Yeah. And I don't want to spin off track episode 9, but in the 10th episode, she received Kirsten with open arms, no resentment, he wasn't you did this to me, this is why I can't walk.
So
I feel like Jeevan's more of a down-to-earth person than people take him for, and it's just that the bond between Kirsten and Jeevan shows that. It was after 20 years, they Jeevan didn't hold a grudge against her, which is impressive in a way.
Very much impressive, But at the same time, maybe maybe he just utterly forgot about that, because it's been 20 years overall. And his attack his wolf attack happened in the same year, so maybe he's grown to get used to it.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of actually, that we're getting sidetracked.
I feel also he doesn't blame Kirsten, because in a way Kirsten was the one who started it all and made him find his purpose.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that cause and effect, him going back to get Station 11, and then going to the hospital, and then leading up to finding the girl that has his children.
Yeah.
So
I was about to actually say something similar to that. It's almost kind of cruel in a way, how it required his an attack, a wolf attack and like the amputation of his like was it his foot or his toes?
It was his toes.
His toes, and like him needing to like use a cane, which also, by the way, I feel like like the way why he walks on a cane, aside from playing the wolf attack, obviously, was also because it symbolizes that he somewhat changed, like Frank did.
Yeah.
Because like you remember in the last, Frank was like his character did change. They said when Frank was talking to Kirsten in the flashback episode I forgot what episode it was, but it was the episode where they show the flashback and where Frank died.
Yeah.
Frank said that like the reason he like needed a cane was because he was like on I forgot what country was it. He was like on an expedition there.
Yeah, he was like a soldier, I think, or something like that.
Isn't
but-
it in Michigan or something?
No, it was a different country, dude.
Wait. Okay,
Okay,
he
point
lost
is-
part of his foot.
Yeah, because he like stepped on a bomb or a claymore, I remember. And then like there was shrapnel that entered his foot, and that's the reason why. And then after that, he said after that like he was like never the same, and he like grew like very isolated to the point where like he was so isolated that that it caused his death, because from when the attacker came that one day, I would say all of them could have lived if they just obeyed and like left, but Frank was like so like isolated and didn't want to experience the outside world that he just wanted to die in his home.
Kind of in a way that's Jeevan now, because he like stayed with the hospital.
Oh yeah, that's also
Yeah.
another one.
So it's kind of like funny in a way, because Jeevan's turning into Frank
Yeah.
in a way, and I think the foot like emphasizes that. So
It's a long way to go. Okay, so what do you think was like the meaning of like Jeevan spending his time in the hospital? Because obviously we know that like that's like where he like found his place and like his footing, I would say, in the pandemic, and like how he learned to like how he like changed for the better, like even 20 years later, to the point where like he like embraced Kirsten the first time he saw her because of like essentially how like happy he was in the hospital.
I feel like it kind of was for the better that Jeevan found the hospital, because I'm not sure if Kirsten and Jeevan would have ever connected again.
Yeah, from the way, from like the obviously, because in all honesty, I feel like Jeevan, even if the wolf didn't attack Jeevan and Jeevan retrieved the book and give it back to Kirsten, they would arguably like still be at odds, even more, I would say, because like that would mean like Kirsten would like try to like ask Jeevan like why in the first place did he throw away the book, and I feel like that would like
It would
further
climax more.
climax more and further distance the relationship, to the point where like honestly I would feel like if like at most I would feel like if it got like worse they would possibly die.
Yeah, possibly. Or I feel like he said, like Jeevan said, like you're my responsibility now. Like I feel like if Kirsten would have passed away, it would be on Jeevan, and he wouldn't.
Yeah, he said that. Yeah,
Mhm.
he said that like the reason why, in general, he was like he was like taking care of Kirsten despite her like not even asking, or like essentially just being like essentially better on her own. Like she like because like obviously we saw her like she was quick to adapt to like when it came to hunting wolves and like living in the new cabin, while Jeevan was still like reluctant, just wanted to find other people.
Yeah, he was also looking on the radio.
Mhm.
He was searching. So
Yeah, that's where I mean that in general is where he found the people in the hospital. Yeah.
I think the hospital was an opportunity for Jeevan to grow as a person and to like really recollect himself and like to like find his like passion and stuff.
Yeah.
Because before like he didn't know like what he wanted to do, like wanted to be, until like he found this hospital, and then he realized like he wanted to help people.
Yeah, I feel like that was the whole point. I mean, not the whole point, obviously. There's more, but I feel like that in general was like a side point, because that's the first thing we see in like the first episode about Jeevan. Not like obviously we see more about in what happens in the first episode. Obviously, we see the landscape of year 20, but like in general, when we first see Jimin and Kirsten, when they're both like talking to each other, he says that he doesn't really know what he is right now. Like that he's unemployed. Sorry, my voice cracks. That he's unemployed at the moment, and the reason why is because like he said like he was a critic, right? But I feel like he like backed up and like said the reason he's unemployed was because he didn't think that was like that wasn't like enough for him, or I mean that wasn't enough. Maybe it was enough for him, but it wasn't enough for him to like boldly claim that he was this. Like, hey, I'm a critic. I feel like that like that's why he was reluctant and like said I'm unemployed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I feel like when one of the I forgot their names kind of all over the place. Sorry. When like one of the ladies who gave birth was like said to Jeevan that like you're not a doctor, you're a supporter or helper. I forgot what it was.
Healer.
Healer. That's it.
Yeah.
When she said he was a healer, like I feel like that stuck with him, and I feel like because it was coming from like a genuine place, from like what he heard, and I feel like it was genuine. Like I don't feel like, because obviously Jeevan wasn't a doctor, but he was still trying his like best or like to do something to help, and that was heal essentially.
Like his whole purpose for him was to like help people, and I don't think he found that with Kirsten because he just felt neglected by her.
Yeah.
So when he found the hospital, it kind of like filled that void, and it helped him.
Yeah, I'm just not. Yeah, I'm also just not noticing that. Like when it came to Jeevan being a healer, they even showed that in the past that he was. Remember when Kirsten received the text that like her parents were dead, and she like came out of her room and like she was crying, and then her and Jeevan hugged each other. That was like I feel like that was an early glimpse of like this show that like Jeevan was like the only thing, but like the something that's good enough that Jeevan was doing was healing. Help people recover from like from a big thing.
From the problems and the trauma, then you just help
Yeah.
people. And I feel like that was Jeevan's purpose, just to be that healer, that comforter of people.
Yeah.
And fortunately, he couldn't be that person for Kirsten anymore because Kirsten also lost Frank, and that was a part of, I think that took away from the healing factor of Jeevan.
Yeah.
In a way.
Honestly, I feel like Jeevan obviously took it more Frank's death. But also another thing is that about Jeevan, like being a like not even like getting into that. I feel like Jeevan was also like on the sidelines, but in a good way. I don't like remember even seeing like, aside from obviously what happened in during the pandemic and the wolf attack, obviously, but that was before Jeevan's change. But like after Jeevan's change, like we only got introduced to Jeevan like in year 20 in this episode. Like we didn't hear from him like at all from like the past era. I mean from the beginning of the pandemic. We just saw that like in a previous episode that like he went missing. And like Kirsten found the Station 11 book, and she like cried out for Jeevan's name. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I thought he died that moment. Like he was attacked by the wolves.
Me too.
Yeah.
I thought he died.
Yeah.
Well, he did get attacked by the wolves, but I felt like they were killed. He was killed by them. Anyways, we didn't see Jeevan, year 20 Jeevan, I would say, until this episode. And I feel the reason why is because that was to establish how like nonchalant and like unproblematic Jeevan's life has been ever since he found his people and like found his role in life.
So maybe Kirsten was the problem.
That sounds kind of cruel, but you got a point.
As well as Jeevan kind of blames Kirsten because he's like, because we did your stupid play. So he
that's also another thing when he said
Yeah.
to play, because I feel like I feel. I don't know, you guys probably feel this too, but Jeevan most likely did feel or like a hint of resent towards Kirsten because he thinks her play resulted in Frank's death. Because they were just on their way to leave and then like they all agreed last minute to do her play because she was done. And then like if they all left before the play, and the intruder walked in, he would have just walked into an empty apartment complex,
Yeah.
and they would have been gone, like all together, including Frank.
That would've been fun. Yeah. So in a way, it kind of is
Kind
his
of.
fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so episode 9 of Station 11. We got to talk about settings. I feel like settings overall are just an overall important thing to discuss when talking about a series. But I feel like Station 11, and especially episode 9, like the settings were like pretty. They were like pretty different from like what we've seen before. From like the first glimpse we see from the cabin in the winter, set in the winter times. We've really like only seen the winter like in flashbacks of year 1 during Jeevan and Kirsten. So flashing back to the winter times, and especially when it's just Jeevan and Kirsten, and they're like isolated essentially, it puts you right back into like a more focused like mood, like because what you're seeing is possibly going to be like later on in the future, and that's just flashbacks overall in Station 11.
Yeah.
Me personally, when I'm watching flashbacks while I'm watching Station 11, I just get like even further enthralled. I become like focused more than ever.
Yeah, honestly, I like the settings and I like the transitions between it from like the present all the way to year 20. That's what I find interesting about like Station 11, and that's important because it's like an essential part of like Station 11 of like flashing back and forth.
Like I feel like flashbacks. I'm not trying to sound insulting. I actually kind of prefer this in a way. I like it, but
Yeah.
like I feel like flashbacks are like 50% of Station 11.
Yeah.
At the same time, I feel like the reason I said it's not like very insulting. I'm not trying to do that is because I feel like Station 11, the series, like more specifically the TV series, as opposed to the book, which I still haven't read yet.
Yeah, me neither.
I feel like it's necessary to have flashbacks. Like, because if you were just left in the dark there, fair play, you'd have it'll intrigue it'll leave the audience like wanting like imagining their own perspective about like how things turn out this way. But at the same time, and like I feel like what's more important is showing what happened and telling them.
Yeah, they do an intricate detail of like showing the little details of each flashback, and like it's like our jobs like make sense of it.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, I feel like the most important, detail, like visual detail that makes the audience raise an eyebrow and point out the screens like, oh hey, that's that thing. Was seeing the cabin and seeing where it's at. If you remember, that's the cabin.
Yeah.
And the empty and like the ice so surrounded by it's the lake from episode 2, if I recall.
Yeah. it's
When
episode 2.
when we first get introduced to the Prophet, or Tyler now. So seeing them like live there, like Jeevan and Kirsten lived in that place that was like once like, because the first time we see that cabin like in episode 2, it's like a happy place, like it's like summer. There's Kirsten and Alex are swimming around there, and it's all good until they meet the Prophet. But other than that, like we get introduced to the setting and we think oh it's a happy place, something really bad happens, and then we get a flashback and we see how it used to be in year 0.
Yeah, it's interesting how they play with the settings from like happy setting to like a more depressed survivalist setting.
Yeah, almost like that. Also, I kind of find it another neat detail. I don't know if they really went for this, but find it funny how like in the cabin and like in the surrounding area that we see in episode 2 and now in episode 9, I find it funny how like the two major people there was in episode 2 was Kirsten and Alex, and then episode 9 it's Jeevan and Kirsten. And the reason I find it funny is because like it's almost like it's a contradictory. Well, not really. It's like a callback because in episode 9 we see that Jeevan and Kirsten was there, and obviously at the time Jeevan was like the guardian role for Kirsten. but now and then when we first watch it, the cabin in episode 2, it's Kirsten and Alex and Kirsten's essentially picked up Jeevan's role. Like she's like trying to protect Alex from like the surrounding.
that makes so much
And it got to the
sense.
point where like she even like stabbed the prophet because like she like felt that like he was like influencing her for the bad.
Yeah, she's like trying to protect Alex from the prophet.
Yeah. Also, what about that? We're gonna like do a comparison
Yeah.
between like Jeevan and Jeevan then and then Kirsten now.
Yeah.
I feel like there's obviously I feel like there's a very big difference. It's very clear. Jeevan, obviously he's always been like, he still is. It can relatively, like, you know, on the sidelines. He like doesn't want to like fight. But like Kirsten now, she's definitely a fighter.
Yeah, there are definitely polar opposites and similarities at the same time, so I find that interesting. One similarity I find is that they're both like protective of their like of others around them. And then like one difference is like Jeevan's like a healer while Kirsten's more of like a up close,
Like a killer.
killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even when she was like, and like, dude, like I said, she was even showing signs of those, like even when like she was with Jeevan. Remember, like when she was throwing the knives towards on the wall like a dartboard, and also she was the one who like straight up told Jeevan that like they needed to hunt wolves, and she was the one who hunted the wolves and like by like shooting them with a sniper.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, you know, looking back on it. But anyways, moving back on the settings, talking about later on in the episode when I honestly keep forgetting their names. It was one of the women, Jeevan's now wife that he has kids with, took him to the. I actually thought it was a hospital for a long time, but no, it's actually like a department store. Like because you could see the shelves around the area, so it used to be a store.
I thought it was a hospital.
Yeah, I thought it was a hospital too, but no, it's like a store. You could tell by like the shelves they have. It's like a mini store.
Oh yeah.
Like a drugstore.
I can see like the pharmacy part.
Yeah, but anyways, that area, kind of a weird area to convert into like essentially like a hospital, like a birthing center, more like, but still.
Yeah, I mean they still have like medicine there and like.
And they have a doctor. Yeah.
Yeah. The
Remember,
doctors.
I remember her actual name, but I forgot her like fake name that she went by. Oh yeah, Terry. That was her fake name, but then like, she revealed later on that her real name was Deborah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yep. Yeah, that was like a really. I feel like, not trying to make this sound weird. I'm trying, but I feel like the birthing center part when Jeevan joins them and like he assists in helping give birth. It's like kind of like fitting that Jeevan's there too, because essentially it's the. I guess I don't mean to make this sound weird, but like it's the birthing of his current role that he's like enthralled with.
Yeah.
As a healer.
Yeah, like I know what you
Yeah,
mean.
I know. Like I said, I was gonna make a sound weird. All right, continue.
His role, like he found his new role as like a healer / medic through like the scene of the birthing, and like that's like two things at the same time, right?
Yeah. So it's like two birds in one stone.
Yeah, two birds in one stone.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, very fitting, I would say.